that we experience, because, and despite the fact that Kenya is 30%, it's almost 30% Muslim, but there's always suspicion. You filed a petition and a coalition that you've been building that's requesting the East African community to grant rights of residency to descendants of enslaved Africans. So that's quite strong. I want you to tell us briefly what this coalition is about and why you specifically chose East Africa, Afro-Jamaican.
So I'll tell you why first, because I'm going to live in Kenya and I'm experiencing some challenges, and I said to myself, there's got to be an easier way for us to come home than going through all the hoops that one has to go through. And so a group of friends and I were sitting down, and there was one in particular, he's going to Uganda. He wants to go to Uganda. And, so we said, what if they just invite us home? And I said, well, they did invite us home, but President Museveni said, come home, you're welcome. But there hasn't been anything procedural as yet. President Ruto even is saying, oh, you're going to be able to visit without a visa and work and open borders, but there's still nothing yet. So we decided, let us ask them, let us petition on behalf of all the descendants of enslaved and trafficked Africans to give us right of abode, the same thing that Ghana has. And let's see what happens. So we started the petition for that reason, to be able to come home, live, operate businesses. We're not asking for immediate citizenship. We're not asking for rights to vote or any of that. We just want somewhere we can call home, and over time we'll apply for our citizenship if you want to. But somewhere without jumping through the hoops. Because I'll tell you what, it was easier for me to apply for my student visa to come to Canada than applying for my Kenyan work permit.
Wow. Okay. I think just pause right there. It was easier for you to get a student visa to Canada than to get a work permit to Kenya. So maybe most Kenyans who are Kenyans don't understand this. They don't know about this. So talk from, like a practical perspective, you said you experienced some challenges, just give us, like at the point when you decided, I came to visit, but I want to see if I can get a work permit or a residency permit. What kind of challenges from those procedures that we know are available for people who want to become Kenyan residents? Where was the challenge for you?
So the challenge for me is to be able to get a work permit under the investor class. You have to show that you have $100,000 in a Kenyan bank account. Fair enough, not a problem.
Okay.
You have 100,000? Oh, sorry.
Hey, listen.
He said he's doing very well.
Come out of my business.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man. Sorry, brethren.
But to get a Kenyan bank to open an account for you, you have to have a work permit and a KRN PIN, which is your tax registration.
KRA
you
PIN,
guys know what a KRA PIN is.
Yes, correct.
Okay, fine. So to get a KRA PIN, listen to this. To get a KRA personal PIN as an investor, I need to prove that I have $100,000 US in a Kenyan bank.
Wow. Okay, in US dollars, not in Kenya shillings.
In US dollars. But the point is, I can't make a move because each thing depends on the other.
Okay.
And so I can't get the PIN without, sorry about that light there. I can't get the PIN without having the money in a Kenyan bank, and I can't open a Kenyan bank account without the PIN.
So, so what if you are part of a company, a director of a company, which is quote unquote an investor group or whatever you want to call it.
But then you see that that defeats the purpose, right? Because as you say, he wants to come as an individual.
I get what.
I get what you're saying. What you're saying is usually get in touch with somebody from Kenya, open that person in Kenya is part of your investment group, and then you use that person to open. Yeah. That is what usually most people do. But then now what he's saying is making it easier for individuals who want to come and invest, because there's so many people who are individuals who want to come and invest like him, and they don't want to do it through a group effort or to do it through somebody else. They want to do it because they have their own vision and their own dream.
Correct.
And so that's why he's saying it and it makes sense, because even in America, when they tell you have 50,000 and you open a business, if you have 50,000, you open a business, you get green cards for you and your family, and you can come in and invest, right? So it's easy. It's quite an easy process. I have $50,000 at the bank, apply for the visa, what kind of business you're going to invest, run your business for a certain number of months, get green cards, bring your family. So the Chinese use it, so most of the Asians use. Now in Kenya, make it simpler like that. Don't make it like, okay, you need the money. When you have the money, you're supposed to open a bank account, but then you don't have ways to open a bank account.
Correct. Yeah, and I guess I hear what you're saying. So it's funny you bring that up, because even for Kenyans, when you're trying to apply for certain things, there are prereqs that you need to have in place in order for you to get some of these things done. A prime example is, say, getting your passport. So before you used your birth certificate, you got your passport, you came to the US, but they changed the rules of the game because the document now needed biometrics and so on and so forth. Now, God forbid you came in here before you were 18, it means you don't have a Kenyan ID, so you would have to get a Kenyan ID to renew your passport, which is a Kenyan passport that's now invalid. And, so it's like you have to go, take the 3 steps back. You do have a Kenyan passport, but it means diddly squat, because you can't be renewed because the new rules say you need biometrics, and you need to have a Kenyan ID, and you need to have original birth certificate, which you may or may not have, with you at that point. But you do have a valid document, or a document that at one point was valid. So there are some of those things, and you're right. It's almost like the people who put these things together, put them together, and then they close the cabinet and said, okay, that's it. They're not going back and taking a look. And Ali would probably give you the same story about him and his ID woes.
Oh yeah,
as well as even say refugees.
As a Kenyan who has a Muslim name, like there's issues that we experience, because and despite the fact that Kenya is 30%, it's almost 30% Muslim, but there's always suspicion, that we're looked upon whenever we go. And this did not start. People sometimes think it started. After 9/11 or because of the 98 bombing. No, talk to my uncles.
From the shifter time.
From the shifter time, yes.
Talk to your uncles, talk to your grandparents.
70s.
We need to stop that thing of asking people to get their grandfather's birth certificates to prove that they're Kenyan.
Or ID card.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with us guys who come from the border.
The border guys.
Guys who come from the border districts, we have the same issue. I cannot just go and get an ID. I have to go get my father's, my mother's, then I have to go and get and then
affidavit
from
the chief.
That has to be signed by the Kijiji, the sub chief, the chief.
Yep.
And they have to
and sometimes your religious leader, the church as well.
They have to show that they know your family, your family lineage. Yes, this one is part of us. He's not coming from Uganda. So it's a very archaic and it's a very backward system which needs to be changed, because I don't understand why even up to now in 2023, because that is one of the things my kid is doing right now, is getting her ID and her Kenya documents before she comes to college. And dude, I had to look for my dad's and my mom's birth certificate and old ID, and then she has to go to Ishaq. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is I think I think this is a topic that we're gonna find like an episode to have a conversation about. A couple of comments here coming also from YouTube. Leslie B says you're so interesting. There's another artist also on YouTube. Welcome. Says this guy is awesome. And then he says for him it was a leap of faith that worked. Props to him. And then I see, like I'm for real says, you go, my friend. Another artist says, Jamaicans are special for sure. And he says again, that's a good welcoming. Then Leslie B says, our music brings us together. Conscious reggae is a vibe. Then we also have Kenyans living abroad saying, hi everyone, tapping in late. I believe our is making significant impact on the Kenyan law.
The petition.
Progressively, the petition, yeah. Yes. Yes, the petition is making a bid on. Okay, so thank you so much, Kenyans living abroad, and also to everybody who's tuned in on Facebook. Now, Slay here says, I can help find more information on how to navigate this, and no bribes, just getting more information on how to go about this. And I think this is something that that really needs to be looked at very closely. But outside that, Kaiser, why East African, and I mean, of course you've explained this because you went to Kenya, but why didn't you just have this petition open up to the African Union?
Yeah, to the rest, yeah.
I thought about that, but from my research, I think the East African community is probably the most organized of all the, I mean, apart from SADC and ECOWAS, I think the East African community is the most organized. And I see how they operate with each other. When I was in Kenya, if you have a East African ID, certain things were cheaper, and I loved that, even though I was paying more. But you were from one of the other countries,
yeah.
So I realized that the partnership seems to work, because I saw what Woody Maya went through crossing from one ECOWAS country into another, and I was like, no,